And good morning to you. Happy New Year. It's never too late to say Happy New Year, is it? I mean, I know it's already a whole week later, but it's always good to start fresh and declare something brand new. And besides, this is the first time I'm with you since we started 2018. And so I appreciate that you're here very, very much. I also appreciate our radio listening audience who listen to us on KSRO at 8:30 on Sunday mornings. They listen to this service. And also to our we have an extended community who listen through our video programming on our website, free access to that. Just reminds me that we're part of a much larger network community than our Santa Rosa community. In fact, it gives me an opportunity to say this year, we are participating in something as a community that the larger community of Centers for Spiritual Living is participating in also. As you heard, we're starting a new theme this year, a year-long theme entitled Living the Science of Mind. And there's a good reason why we're doing that. It's because we're celebrating 100 years of teaching, our teaching, which is called the Science of Mind. And that's pretty significant. It's difficult to say when a movement started, but we do know this, that our founder, Ernest Holmes, he wrote his first book, Creative Mind, in 1918 and started teaching from it. So we're using that date to say we've been teaching this stuff in the world for 100 years, and I'm very thrilled to be participating. So how this works for us here and with other centers too is that we have a lot of free resources to support you staying together with this program on the same page. For example, you heard there's a blue sheet you can take home that gives you the reading assignments that come from Living the Science of Mind, a beautiful and easy to read book. But let's say you misplace that piece of paper, or you're listening on the radio and you're not in this area. You can still access it by going to our website, www.cslsr.org. And if you do, you'll notice that the menu items at the top, among them is one called Services, and that's the one that you'll be interested in. Because if you click on Services, it's going to take you to an overview of our whole year's topics, for example, like this one, where it will show you the reading assignments for each week from Living the Science of Mind. Because each week's topic draws its inspiration from the reading assignment. And that's really a lovely way to prepare or to later on review and get a little more out of the Sunday service. Not only that, you'll see that we also list the guest speakers that we have for each month. For example, this month we have one of our favorites, Reverend Deborah Johnson's coming to speak. Yeah. And one of our other favorites, our community minister, Reverend Tara Steele, yay, going to speak. So that you can always see what's going on at your center. As I mentioned, the topics come from this beautiful book, Living the Science of Mind. Be yourself. These are good. I should. Desire, opinion, and revelation. Let God do it, thinking affirmatively. Right thought will always externalize itself. Isn't that amazing? Lovely. Like today's topic, which comes from page 1, and it is this. What is the science of mind? Well, it's a good place to start. The Science of Mind is the name of our teaching that we've been teaching for 100 years, and that's what we're going to start with. Somebody asked our movement's spiritual leader, Dr. Ken Gordon, they asked him, what is the science of mind? And he had a great answer. He said, the science of mind is a user manual for life, the one we wish we had read. He went on to say, imagine, that life is like a computer, that most of us are just using a fraction of its power. I really understand that, sometimes I'm using We've got these amazing machines on our laps or on our desktops, and they can do extraordinary things, but I'm using it to write email, entertain myself. When it can solve incredible problems, it can create stuff that is beyond, it can connect us in so many ways. And really, I get to discover how to use this machine, sometimes by trial and error, or by word of mouth, or somebody better advanced in using computers will tell me how to do it. I was thinking about a friend of mine. She's a smart lady, but she was feeling frustrated about her use of her computer because she felt she really wasn't getting the most out of it that she could. And so she took a class, I believe it was at the junior college, on using something like Microsoft Word. And she came back and said, I am amazed at what you can do with that application. It's almost a lifelong study. She said there are layers and layers and layers of what can be done. And she became my go-to person for help in doing special things in Microsoft Word. And I think that maybe is what Dr. Ken was thinking about when he said the Science of Mind is a user manual, the one that we didn't read, that will unlock the layers of what life can be to us. Recently I got myself a Garmin bicycle computer. It's a thing about that big, that tells you how fast you're pedaling when you're on the bike, how fast you're pedaling. Sorry, for a moment I forgot my American accent. Oh, and by the way, your Center for Spiritual Living cycle team, they have the bake sale today because they're raising funds for their epic cycle from San Francisco to Los Angeles to support people who are living with HIV and AIDS. So go and visit them. Even if you don't buy a cookie, drop some money in the jar there to help them. Help create a world that works better for everyone. So anyway, I got this Garmin bike computer, and the reason why I got it is because Kevin got one first. And I wasn't going to let him have a piece of technology that I didn't have. So unlike life, this Garmin came with a user manual, which I didn't read. Are you like that? I'm smart enough, I'll figure it out. Well, it turns out that I was using this Garmin just to tell me how fast I was going, when in fact it can do so much more, and I missed it because I didn't read the manual. Turns out this Garmin can talk to me. It turns out it can encourage me if need be based on previous effort on the same route. It knows it's watching. It turns out it can answer phone calls and display text messages. Not advisable when you're on a bike, but it can do it. It turns out it can let up to 5 designated people follow me in real time because it's persistently connected through its GPS ability to let people know. It's a great safety feature. You can follow your loved ones around. It can it can analyze, compare, and download routes. It can even create a route from wherever it is I'm pedaling, and then upload that route to numerous different services, and then later let me follow that route with turn-by-turn instructions. And most importantly, it can let me know when I'm wandering off my path. The thing is, I wouldn't have known any of that because I didn't have access. Well, I had access to it, meant I didn't read it. And so I had to discover that kind of by trial and error, stumbling onto it, talking to other people who had the same device. You see, I was just using it on the basic level. And that's what Dr. Ken was talking about when he says the science of mind is that missing manual for you, for me, and for anyone to use our life more fully, regardless of what religion we come from. I understand that. I can remember a time where I might say I was using my life at just the surface basic level, basic functions. Eat, drink, sleep, entertain. Oh, and there's so much more, isn't there? I had to get the deeper possibilities. I had to find the creative potential, the way that life connects us. I had to discover this, and sometimes I had to be trial and error. All the while I'm thinking, I wish I had a manual that would have told me how to use it. Now, Dr. Ken is saying the science of mind is the manual. So let's look at that phrase, the science of mind. When we say science, what we mean by that is the method, the rules of how mind works. Now, whose mind? Well, Dr. Kim Kaiser is teaching on Wednesday evenings this whole month, free classes, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., and everyone is welcome, and he started last Wednesday. And in these classes, he's teaching about the basic ideas of science of mind. And if you attend those classes, you most likely will encounter the answer to that question. Because here we use the word mind with an uppercase M in a very special way. When we say mind, we mean the thing itself, or your higher power, or, if you prefer, the creative genius of the universe, or, if you prefer, God. And we say there is only one mind, with uppercase M, and we're all thinking in it. We're all using it, you might say, when we use our own little m, mind. Every time we think and we choose, we judge, we decide, we bless, we curse. All of this is our personal use of the creative energy of the universe. And if we don't know the rules, we can get some unexpected, undesirable results. Have you ever used something in a way that it wasn't supposed to be used? No, I'm not talking about using something in a new and creative way to get even more out of it. I'm talking about those times when I've used something because I didn't read the user manual. Oh, I've broken so many things because I didn't know what I was doing. Anybody? Everybody's looking around. So let's look into the user manual, the science of mind, to find out what is in it. And this is what Dr. Kim is covering on Wednesday evenings, the 4 basic ideas of the user manual for life called the science of mind. The thing itself. Now, if you missed that, no worry, we've got you covered. You can catch up this evening with Maggie Cole's informal service at 7 p.m. because guess what her topic is? The thing itself. There you are, covered. The nature of creation, the universal mind. Then the second and third, the way it works, what it does, these are the rules that you need to know before you start using it, in case you use it for the wrong purpose. And then the fourth one, how to use it. These are the instructions. That's the foundation for right thinking, which itself is the foundation for effective and affirmative prayer. It's the heart of it. It's very exciting. I have a colleague, and you'll remember him, I'm sure, Dr. Chris Michaels, another one of our favorite speakers, and he doesn't come here that often anymore since he's moved to the East Coast in Fort Lauderdale. But he has his own idea about what the user manual for mind might be like, and he suggests there are 5 important features in the user manual for your mind, and these are they. Number 1, you don't have a mind. You're using the mind. Number 2, there's no off switch. So stop looking for it. Number 3, your practice is to tune into to it, because mind is communicating with us. We're in a relationship all the time. Number 4, practice thinking about what you want to think about. Who knew there was a choice? And lastly, stay tuned. Maintain awareness of your connection to the thing itself. So let's look at that. As early as the 1800s, Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote in History, he wrote, there is one mind common to all individuals. This is where we intersect. This is the heart of our teaching. This thing you call your mind, it's really where you are connected to the one mind and the use you are making of it. So yeah, you are an individual thinker, that's true, yet the power you have to create, to love, to solve, to choose, to decide, it doesn't come from you personally. It comes from the thing itself. It comes from the higher power. It comes from the creative genius of the universe through you. And the miracle of it is that we seem to have the ability to use and channel and express that in any which way that we want. That's freedom. Oh, that brings up an excellent New Year question for 2018. Might ask myself, how have I been using mind in 2017? How do I want to? Well, let's explore that a little bit by going to the second point. There's no off switch. We cannot turn our connection to the universe off. Sometimes I like to think that exceptions exist. You know, when I'm grumpy, when I'm mean-spirited, but they don't. Permanently connected. I like to think in those cases when my mind is toxic, that my mind isn't really part of the one mind, but it is. Because I know that those toxic thoughts in my mind, they're not going to do anybody any good. So in a way, I have this double standard. Oh yes, I'll tell you, I do believe in the creative power of the one mind and that I am part of it. But every now and then I'd like to turn that connection off so that I can get into some serious stinking thinking. I can feel it's coming on. I'm going to start criticizing any moment. I'm about to step into some gossip, and I'd like to have it not count. But it does. There it is. See, look, I know that there's an appropriate time and place for the complete range of all thoughts and emotions and feelings to be expressed. Loss, sadness, grief, everything. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about those moments when I indulge in toxic thinking and I make no effort to quit. Maybe that's when I'm using my mind in a way that it was not intended to be used. Who's to say? The next one. Tune into it. Oh yeah, tune into what mind is saying to you. Because you'll hear voices. If you're alive, you're not crazy. We're all interconnected and the chatter in there is loud. So our practice then becomes to learn to listen to mind with a capital M and not the small-mindedness of the chatter of the human race. It's difficult to do that if a person is not willing to take time to be still. Like we do in every service, we take a moment to be still. Because the chatter needs to settle, doesn't it? So if I could take time every single day just to sit, I don't even need a program, just sit and let the chatter simmer down, Because then if I do that, I start to be able to detect the difference between the truth of the one mind and the chatter of the human mind. I've got chatter. I learned a wonderful acronym recently, and I've got it going on. FOMO, fear of missing out. Yeah, I got it. And when it's chattering in my mind, it says, you're going to miss this opportunity. You're missing something, and this opportunity will only come once. But if I sit and I let it settle, then the one mind says in me, how could you miss out on anything at all, ever? The chatter in me, if I don't take the time to be still, the chatter will say things to me like, you have to be all things to all people. You can never let anyone down. You always have to be perfect. And by the way, you're never going to be enough. But if I sit and I just let it settle, then the one mind will say, your job is to be you as kindly and as authentically as possible. That's our practice. And then the next one. Practice thinking about what you want to think about. Again, who knew it was an option? Or another way of saying it, maybe there's a good way to say it. Think about what leads you into joy. Try to imagine that your mind is supposed to be used like that. Or try to imagine that when you get your mind, it's delivered in a cardboard box. And when it arrives and you open it up, there's a label on it, and it says, use this mind to bring joy only. Then try to imagine your mind being used that way this year so that it brings more joy into your life, regardless of what the outer circumstances may be. Whatever difficulties we face, whatever challenges arrive, that we don't lose that awareness of what my mind is capable of doing. I suspect, no, I can guarantee that when we begin to think of our mind that way, things change. Our inner conversation and our outer conversation starts to align itself with the truth of our being. We start to lose interest in criticism of self and others. We start to become more delighted in supporting and approving and encouraging ourselves and others because of what we're dwelling on. That's a good question for a new year. For 2018, ask yourself, what do you want to dwell on this year? Because it turns out that what we dwell on, we have a tendency to embody more of. Even some people will say we become it. There's a great story in A More Ardent Fire that illustrates this. I read it for you. In India, there is a story about a villager who wanted to learn to meditate. For several weeks, following his teacher's instruction, he tried to fix his mind on the thing itself, the formless absolute, but he couldn't. His mind did nothing but wander here and there. Finally, he went back to his teacher and complained, "Sir, I just can't keep my mind on the absolute because I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's like." The teacher thought about it and decided to take a more practical approach. "All right," he said. "What is it that you love most deeply?" With some embarrassment, the villager replied, "My cow." "Very well," said the teacher, "go into your room and think about your cow. Meditate on that." A while later, the teacher decided to look in on the new student, and to his surprise, he heard the man had not come out of his meditation room for days. His teacher pounded on the door. He said, "Open up. What's going on in there? There came a faint answer, a little like a bellow. Meditating. Come out at once, the teacher repeated. It seems I need to give you further instruction about moderation. Sir, came the reply, I can't come out. My horns are too big to fit through the door. This is the basis of meditation. We become what we dwell on, what we meditate on. Whatever we constantly dwell on shapes our desires, our decisions, and even our destiny. Simply put, we become what we love. In this sense, every one of us has already been meditating for a very long time. The problem is that we didn't realize we have some choice in the matter, or we never read the manual, or we were never exposed to the options, and here we are having the opportunity to learn how to use it. The next one, stay tuned. Stay tuned to the one mind. Do not let go of it. Well, in fact, you can't let go of it. I can never lose my connection to divinity, but I can become distracted and have the experience of being disconnected or forgetting. And when that happens, then I start to look in all the wrong places for meaning, connection, and life. What do other people think? Maybe I should think that too. What do other people say is important? Maybe it's important for me too. What are people saying is going to happen? Maybe I should be afraid of that too. How do I compare to other people? Do I have enough, too much, too little? And that can be interrupted in a moment when we remember to return to the one mind. And that is what the science of mind is about. It's about staying conscious as best as we can of the connection that exists. And we can do that by talking to ourselves, gentle reminders, saying things in our mind such as, I am connected to a source of infinite ideas. I am connected to an endless flow of inspiration and warm, connecting love. I am experiencing this world through the lens of spiritual perception, and I like it. And this mind, I can call it spirit if I like, spirit within me, this mind, is clear, calm, creative, present. And I am learning every day a little more how to think in ways that usher in joy into the world, for me and for others. My mind is a center of activity within the mind of creation, and I am taking responsibility for using it in a way that it was intended to be used. And every day, I'm getting better at that. And that is the science of mind. I invite you to breathe in with me. I invite you to breathe in with me and exhale into a moment of prayer. I may say it like this then. There is only one mind. And that mind is perfect. That mind, I can say, is God. And that mind is my mind right now. It's where I live and breathe and have my being. And even though I'm speaking in the first person, this is for and about every person in hearing range who accepts and identifies with the same word. And by way of this prayer, this affirmative prayer, I am reestablishing myself in the awareness that I am connected to and part of the thing itself. That I am a willing, able channel for its expression. Its absolute nature expresses through me as my commitment and my joy. Its creative genius expresses through me in my ability to solve problems, think up new ideas. Its supreme and unfiltered and unlimited love nature expresses itself through me as my ability to connect with other people, to help and to heal and to uplift humanity. Its oneness expresses through me as my ability to see myself in others and in the world, and so I celebrate that. Now, even now, as I think these thoughts of prayer, I realize they are taking place within the mind itself. And so this prayer inherits the creative, powerful nature of mind itself, which is why I can fully expect myself to be transformed by the prayer. And so I give thanks for that. I celebrate that. And I rest in the understanding that there is only one mind. And that mind is perfect. And that mind is God. And that mind is my mind right now. And so it is. Once again, I invite you to breathe in deeply and to sigh.